Welcome to Storytime Boulevard, where grown-ups come to unwind, drift away, and dream a little deeper. I'm Andrew, and as always, I'm so honored to be here with you. If it's your first time here, we're so glad you found us. This is our cozy corner of the internet, where soothing stories, soft adventures, and gentle bedtime tales await. If you enjoy relaxing storytelling and want more whimsical journeys to help you fall asleep, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us continue creating peaceful moments just for you. Tonight, let's take a calming journey into a rain-kissed cobblestone town, where soft lamplight glows in windows and puddles sparkle like silver coins. The sky hums with the rhythm of raindrops, and beneath a quiet street lives a tiny mouse with a heart full of wonder. But before we begin, let's take a moment to settle in. Close your eyes if you'd like, and take a deep, gentle breath in, and slowly exhale. Let the tension melt from your shoulders. Let your thoughts drift like falling rain. With each breath, imagine the sound of tiny raindrops tapping against a window pane. Soft, rhythmic, and comforting. Breathe in again and out. You are safe, cozy, and warm, just where you need to be. Now let's begin. The Umbrella Mouse of Thimble Street. Thimble Street was a quiet little lane nestled between two bookshops and a bakery that always smelled of cinnamon and warm bread. On rainy evenings, the cobblestones shimmered like polished marbles, and little streams of water danced between the cracks, whispering secrets only the smallest ears could hear. And beneath one of those very cobblestones, under a round mossy stone near the bakery, lived a mouse named Tilly. Tilly was no ordinary mouse. She wore a blue button for a hat, carried a thimble backpack filled with string and shiny things, and had a talent for finding lost treasures that had fallen through the cracks of the world above. That evening, as raindrops drummed gently overhead, Tilly peered out from her cozy doorway. The storm had turned the street into a glistening river of puddles and light. Most creatures were tucked safely away, but not Tilly. She loved rainy days. They always brought her the most curious things. With a little squeak of excitement, Tilly tugged her button hat down snugly, tightened her thimble straps, and scurried up to the surface, her tiny feet splashing through the puddles. She sniffed the air. Rain always smelled like adventure. That's when she saw it. At the edge of a puddle, beneath the bakery bench, half draped over a pebble, was something small and striped, red and white, with a curved wooden handle. Tilly's whiskers twitched. "A miniature umbrella?" she whispered, blinking in surprise. It was far too small for a human, yet just her size. She reached out and gently touched the handle. It was smooth and warm, like it had been waiting for someone just like her. And when she opened it, a breeze lifted the umbrella ever so slightly, and Tilly, to her astonishment, felt her paws leave the ground. Tilly squeaked and clung tighter to the umbrella's handle as her little paws dangled above the ground. The breeze wasn't strong, but it was enough to carry her just a whisker's height into the air. Enough to make her heart flutter like a leaf in the wind. She floated gently, drifting across the puddles like a feather on water. The umbrella spun ever so slightly, giving her a full view of Thimble Street from above. The golden glow of the bakery window shimmered through the raindrops, and the lamplights blinked softly through the mist like sleepy fireflies. Below, a rubber boot stomped through a puddle, sending up a splash that nearly reached her toes. Tilly squealed with laughter and tilted the umbrella just enough to steer toward the safety of a flower box under the window ledge. She landed with a soft plop among the violets and thyme, heart thudding with wonder. Did I just fly? She whispered to herself, blinking at the umbrella in her paws. Its red and white stripes gleamed in the rainlight, and a tiny silver charm on its tip sparkled like a falling star. Tilly had found buttons, broken earrings, even a gold coin once, but never something enchanted. She tucked the umbrella under her arm like a walking stick and looked out over Thimble Street. Raindrops pattered like applause on the leaves above her, and she felt a sense of something new, something waiting. Whatever this umbrella was, it hadn't blown into her paws by accident. No. Tilly had a feeling tonight's adventure was just beginning, and somewhere beyond the puddles and cobblestones, beyond the chimney tops and quiet corners of the town, something or someone was waiting to be found. With a final glance toward her cozy home under the cobblestone, Tilly smiled, then stepped out into the rainy evening once more. The rain had softened to a quiet drizzle, and the clouds above Thimble Street glowed a dusky lavender. Tilly, umbrella in paw, stood at the edge of a stone planter box 3 stories above the street. The flight from the bakery window had been short, but thrilling. She'd practiced twice more after that first lift, learning how to tilt the umbrella to steer and how to land softly. It felt like riding a dream. Now, she looked up at the steep rooftop above her. A little weathered drainpipe snaked its way to the top. Tilly adjusted her thimble pack, tucked the umbrella under one arm, and began to climb. Raindrops glided down the metal like silver ribbons, but Tilly was nimble and determined. She scampered, slipped once, laughed at herself, and climbed on. When she reached the rooftop, the whole town opened before her like a storybook. Cobbled alleys, warm chimney smoke curling skyward, and candlelit windows glowing like stars. But the rooftops were different. Up here, the wind spoke a different language. It tugged at her ears. It swirled in little eddies. And then, quite suddenly, it called. Not with a voice, but with a feeling, like a tug in her heart, as if the breeze itself were inviting her forward. Tilly held her umbrella tight and opened it with a whip. It bloomed above her like a flower in the stormlight. She took a deep breath, closed her eyes, and jumped. The wind caught her. Not too fast, not too wild, just enough. She rose above the roof tiles like a leaf in a slow swirl. Raindrops slid off the fabric and sparkled in the air around her. Below, a chimney cat blinked in surprise. A pair of sparrows chirped as she passed. Tilly twirled mid-air and giggled. The rooftops passed beneath her like stepping stones. She floated from one to the next, umbrella tilting ever so slightly with the wind's whim. It was as if the umbrella knew where to go. Then she saw it. On a roof near the edge of town, half hidden behind a chimney, was a small curled shape, trembling and still. Tilly squinted. It was a bird, a young one by the looks of it, with damp feathers and a bent wing. Its eyes were closed tight, and its little chest rose and fell in frightened, fluttering breaths. Without thinking, Tilly steered toward it. She landed softly beside the bird and knelt. "Hello there," she said gently. The bird didn't move at first. Then its eye cracked open, tired, frightened but curious. "My name's Tilly," she whispered, "and I think this umbrella wants us both to fly." The little bird blinked up at Tilly, shivering beneath a loose tile. Rain beaded on its tiny feathers, and its right wing was tucked at an awkward angle. Even though it tried to sit up straighter, Tilly could see the wince behind its brave face. "I'm not here to hurt you," she said softly, laying her umbrella down beside her. "You look like you've had quite the tumble." The bird gave a tired chirp, just one, and then buried its beak into its damp chest. Tilly opened her thimble pack and pulled out a small square of dry cloth she'd found once in a laundry line, now folded neatly for moments just like this. She gently draped it over the bird like a little cape, careful not to disturb the wing. The bird flinched and slowly relaxed under its warmth. "I don't suppose you can fly?" Tilly asked, already knowing the answer. The bird shook its head faintly. Tilly sat beside him, umbrella in her lap, the rain whispering around them like a lullaby. "I once fell down a drain pipe when I was little," she said. "Landed in a jar of marmalade. Sticky business, that. Took me days to get the smell out of my fur." The bird made a soft, amused chirp. Tilly smiled. "There it is, a little spark." The umbrella, resting against the roof, began to twitch, just slightly. Its striped fabric rippled in a wind Tilly couldn't yet feel. She turned toward it. "That's odd," she murmured. And then the wind came. Not the soft, swirly breeze from before, but a stronger gust that rolled over the rooftops with purpose. Chimneys groaned, window shutters flapped. The scent of wildflowers and distant wood smoke filled the air. The umbrella lifted itself upright. Tilly stood quickly and steadied it with both paws. All right, I get it. Time to go." She turned to the bird. "You're coming with me." The bird gave a startled chirp and tried to hop away, but Tilly held up her paw. "No flying, not with that wing, but you can ride." She opened her pack and gently arranged the cloth inside, then beckoned the bird to step in. "It's not fancy, but it's warm." The bird hesitated, then nestled itself into the tiny makeshift nest. "Good choice," Tilly said, hoisting the umbrella. The wind swirled again, catching the stripes just right. With a skip and a breath, Tilly launched from the rooftop, and the umbrella carried them both into the air, higher than before, over the rooftops, through the drifting mist, past flickering weather vanes and sleepy attic windows. The world blurred softly below, as if they were drifting through a dream. The bird peeked from the pack in quiet wonder. "You're doing great," Tilly whispered. The umbrella glided almost effortlessly toward the edge of town. Where it was going, Tilly didn't know, but wherever the umbrella led, she had a feeling they were meant to go together. The umbrella carried Tilly and the little sparrow beyond the rooftops of Thimble Street, where the buildings grew older, the stones more worn, and the lamplight turned golden like candle flames. Ahead, rising above the sleepy town like a silent guardian, stood the old clock tower. Its face was cracked but still ticking, each chime echoing faintly through the mist. Time itself seemed to move slower near it, as if the rain paused to listen. The wind guided Tilly gently toward the tower, circling them in a slow spiral around its spire. "This feels different," Tilly whispered. She could feel it in her whiskers. Not just the pull of the breeze, but something deeper. Like the tower had a heartbeat, like the air was watching. They landed on a weathered wooden ledge just beneath the clock face. A patch of moss cushioned their arrival, and the umbrella folded gently as if it knew to rest. The bird peeked out, eyes wide at the height. Tilly smiled reassuringly and set her paw on the cool, damp stone of the tower. Symbols had been carved into the wall, circles, stars, and tiny umbrellas. One of them matched the silver charm that dangled from the tip of hers. Tilly's ears twitched. She wasn't the first. Then she noticed something tucked in the corner of the ledge. An old brass tin with a velvet ribbon tied around it. She popped it open gently. Inside was a note, faded but legible. To the next traveller, the umbrella chooses when the wind is ready. Let your heart listen, and when the time is right, the clock tower will open. Tilly turned to the great face of the clock. It ticked and tocked, and just then it struck the hour. As the bell echoed through the tower, something shifted in the stone behind her. A small section of the wall creaked, then slowly swung inward, revealing a tunnel lit by glowing blue moths that flitted silently along the ceiling. Tilly's breath caught. The sparrow chirped softly, as if sensing what she already knew. "This isn't just about flying anymore," she murmured. "This umbrella is part of something much bigger." She placed the umbrella carefully beneath her arm and lifted the sparrow gently back into her pack. With one last glance at the stormy sky above, Tilly stepped into the clock tower's secret passage, where time waited and magic stirred behind every stone. The passage inside the clock tower wound in a slow spiral, just wide enough for Tilly to walk with Wren tucked safely in her pack. The glowing blue moths drifted quietly above them, their light flickering like lanterns in a gentle breeze. The air was cool and smelled faintly of time-worn paper, old stone, and something soft and electric, like air right before a storm. Tilly's paws made no sound on the ancient floor. Even the rain outside seemed to hush as they descended deeper, past crumbled bricks and faded carvings of umbrellas, wind symbols, and birds mid-flight. Wren stirred gently in the cloth lining and chirped. "I know," Tilly whispered. "I feel it too. We're not just discovering something, we're being remembered." Just ahead, the passage opened into a vast round chamber, lit from above by a great stained glass dome that shimmered with moonlight, filtered through the rain. And at the heart of the chamber, a room full of threads, dozens, maybe hundreds of gossamer strands stretched from the ceiling to the floor, like a glowing spider's web. Each thread glowed with its own soft hue: lavender, gold, pale blue, silver green. They pulsed gently, as if breathing. Tilly stepped closer and gasped. Along the walls, small alcoves displayed tiny relics: worn compass needles, wind chimes no bigger than acorns, folded paper maps, and miniature umbrellas of every shape and colour. Each one lovingly placed beneath a nameplate. Wren poked his head from her pack, his eyes wide with wonder. "It's a memory room," Tilly murmured. "Every flyer, every journey remembered here." As she stepped into the centre of the room, something shifted. A thread, one that had been almost invisible, began to glow softly at her feet. It was silver and red, striped like her umbrella. It lifted from the floor and hovered in the air before her, drifting upward toward the dome. Then, from one of the stone alcoves, a tiny voice echoed. "You've been chosen, Tilly of Thimble Street." She turned sharply, but there was no one there. The wind itself had spoken. Another whisper followed, gentle and low. "The still sky calls. A wind has stopped blowing. Go where the breeze no longer sings. Only you and the sparrow can carry it forward." Tilly's heart beat faster. She looked down at Wren. He blinked slowly, then nodded once, as if he understood more than she ever expected. Tilly stepped forward, and the silver-red thread followed her, weaving itself around her umbrella, like a ribbon caught in the wind. The moment it touched the handle, the umbrella began to glow from within. A new wind stirred, soft at first, then surer, like it remembered how to dance. The path ahead was becoming clear, and soon they would ride the wind to a land forgotten by the skies, a place waiting to breathe again. The wind that carried Tilly and Wren away from the clock tower was unlike any they'd flown before. It had purpose. It swept around them like a ribbon being unwound, gentle but steady, guiding them over fields and forests, across brooks and bridges, until the familiar sights of Thimble Street faded behind a curtain of mist. Tilly held the umbrella firmly, her eyes narrowed against the breeze. Wren nestled against her scarf, watching the sky as it shifted from dusky blue to a pale, soft grey. Then, all at once, the wind stopped, not slowed, not quieted. It vanished, as if the sky itself had drawn a final breath and forgotten how to exhale. They hovered in place, as if suspended in a painting. Below them stretched a sleepy village, tiny rooftops, winding paths, and overgrown gardens. Everything was still. No breeze moved the trees. No chimney smoke curled from homes. Even the clouds above were frozen, like smeared chalk across glass. Tilly slowly descended with the umbrella, landing in a quiet field of clover just outside the village. She could hear her own heartbeat. Wren hopped from her pack and looked around nervously. "It's like the world hit pause," Tilly whispered. The grass didn't sway. The flowers didn't bend. Leaves lay flat and untouched. The silence wasn't heavy. It was hollow, like a song waiting for its first note. They walked along the edge of the path until they reached a wooden sign covered in lichen. The letters were faded but readable. "Welcome to Stillmere." A weathered gate creaked open at Tilly's touch. Not from the wind, there was none, but as if it had been waiting for her. Inside the village, small houses stood, with shutters gently ajar, and tools half used in the gardens. Nothing looked broken, just unfinished, as though life had quietly walked away mid-sentence. Suddenly, Wren's feathers fluffed. He chirped, sharp and bright, then froze. Tilly turned quickly. From behind a stone wall, a pair of eyes blinked. A small hedgehog slowly emerged, carrying a faded scarf and dragging a kite behind him with a string that never fluttered. You moved," he said in awe. "You moved with the air." Tilly stepped forward, gently closing the umbrella. "I think we brought some with us." The hedgehog's eyes filled with something like hope. "No one's flown here in I don't know how long," he whispered. The sky stopped blowing. The wind paths dried up. We thought the stories were just old dreams." "They weren't," Tilly said. "And I think we're here to help the wind remember." Wren gave a soft, proud chirp, and somewhere deep above them, behind the frozen sky and faded clouds, something stirred, almost imperceptibly, the first twitch of a breeze. The hedgehog's name was Corbin, and though his voice was quiet, it carried the weight of many seasons. He led Tilly and Wren down winding, unmoving streets, where curtains hung frozen in mid-sway and wind chimes clung to silence. Not even the petals of the garden lilies stirred. The hush was deep, so deep Tilly felt she had to tiptoe, as if sound itself was sacred here. The sky stopped breathing the day the hollow bell cracked, Corbin explained as they passed the village green. It used to ring every morning, carried by the wind from the tower's peak. It told the wind where to go next. But when the bell broke, the wind forgot the way. He glanced at Tilly, then at her umbrella. "We've tried to fix it," he continued, "but no one could reach the tower, and even if they could, only a wind-bearer could mend it." Tilly's ears twitched. A wind-bearer? Corbin stopped at the base of a steep, spiraling hill. At its summit stood a weathered tower, tangled in ivy and wrapped in stillness. At the very top, hidden just behind a broken arch, she saw it. A great bronze bell, split down the middle, like a cracked teacup. "Yes," Corbin whispered. "Someone the wind follows. Someone chosen by the sky. The bell listens to them. But there hasn't been one in a very long time." Tilly slowly opened her umbrella. The silver red thread that had wound itself around the handle now shimmered faintly, tugging toward the tower. Wren hopped beside her, wings held close, but eyes bright. Tilly looked up the hill, then back at Corbin. "I think we're meant to try." The climb was steep and quiet. No birds sang, no branches creaked. But as they neared the tower's base, Tilly felt the air begin to thrum. Not a sound, but a sensation, like a whisper waiting to be spoken. They reached the bell platform just as the clouds began to shift slightly above them, as if remembering how to move. The bell was larger up close, old and tired, its once polished bronze dulled with age, and a hairline crack running down its front. The clapper inside dangled uselessly, tangled in old threads of cobweb. Tilly stepped forward and raised the umbrella. The silver red thread unwound itself from the handle and floated upward, wrapping gently around the bell's center. Wren let out a low, musical trill, his voice rising into a strange, crystalline pitch that shimmered through the still air. Then silence. For a moment, nothing happened. And then the bell rang, not loudly, but clearly, like a memory being sung for the first time in years. A single tone, rich and deep, rolled through the sky. The ivy rustled, the clouds twitched, and the wind, timid and shaky, sighed. Tilly's fur fluttered, Wren's feathers ruffled. The sky was waking up. The umbrella lifted slightly from her paws, catching the breeze. Below, in the village of Stillmere, curtains fluttered. Wind chimes sang. Leaves swirled. and for the first time in what must have been seasons, the wind danced through the streets like a child returning home. The bell rang again, this time clearer, brighter. A sound not of sorrow or stillness, but of waking, of movement. The crack that once split the bell still remained, but it no longer mattered. The song didn't need to be perfect. It just needed to begin. Tilly gripped her umbrella as a strong gust curled around the tower, swirling her scarf and sending her whiskers fluttering. Wren chirped in amazement, wings outstretched as the breeze tousled his feathers. The wind had come home. Below them, Stillmere transformed. Laundry lines danced. Garden gates creaked open. The vines around the tower rustled with a joy that had been missing for too long. The villagers stepped from their homes. Hedgehogs, squirrels, badgers, and birds, blinking up at the sky with wonder in their eyes. Corbin stood in the square, paws clasped over his chest, tears caught in his fur. "They've done it," he whispered. "The wind has found us again." As the sun dipped low and the clouds parted into ribbons of gold and mauve, Tilly opened her umbrella one last time atop the bell tower. It caught the returning breeze effortlessly, as if it had been made for this very moment. Wren nestled against her, a shimmer of confidence now radiating from his chest. His wing, though still tucked protectively, no longer looked heavy with fear. The umbrella lifted. They rose into the air once more, not with hesitation, but with grace. The wind remembered them now. It welcomed them. Past Stillmere's rooftops they drifted, the villagers waving below, wind chimes singing farewell songs in every key. The bell tolled once more behind them. 3 gentle notes that echoed like a promise. The skies ahead brightened, and with every mile they floated, the breeze followed, threading its way back toward the towns and trees that had long missed its whisper. That night, Tilly and Wren flew beneath a star-sprinkled sky. The clouds danced beside them. The moonlight rode their backs. When Thimble Street came into view, it shimmered beneath the rain-washed stars, its rooftops glowing, its puddles stilled. They landed softly on the bakery windowsill, where it all began. Tilly looked at her umbrella and smiled. Its silver-red thread had faded now, absorbed into the handle, but the magic lingered in the air. Wren stretched his wings. Stronger now, just a flicker, but enough. Enough to know that someday, soon, he'd fly on his own. And somewhere, in a puddle yet to be formed, under a sky yet to storm, another umbrella waited. for another heart brave enough to follow the wind. Back beneath the cobblestones of Thimble Street, Tilly kept her umbrella by the door, right next to her thimble pack and a tiny jar labelled Wren's feathers, found, not plucked. The wind now visited her doorstep each morning, rustling through her window and carrying scents from faraway fields. Sometimes it brought stories, sometimes seeds, sometimes the faintest echo of bells from lands she hadn't seen yet. And every so often, Wren would visit. His wing had healed, not just with time, but with trust. He'd become quite the traveller himself, often seen soaring near the rooftops, scouting for lost breezes or delivering gentle gusts to sleepy meadows. They didn't always need words, Tilly and Wren. They simply shared a look, and the wind did the rest. And so, if you ever find yourself walking down a quiet cobblestone lane after a soft rain, and you spot a red and white umbrella lying just beside a puddle, perfectly dry, don't walk past it too quickly, because sometimes the wind remembers, and sometimes it's looking for you. The end. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on Storytime Boulevard. We hope you enjoyed your journey with Tilly and Wren through rainy rooftops, forgotten winds, and the quiet magic of Thimble Street. May the gentle breeze of their adventure stay with you as you drift into sleep, reminding you that even the smallest heart can carry great courage, and that sometimes the wind finds us just when we need it most. Until next time, sleep well, dream deeply, and may the quiet magic of the night carry you gently into morning. Good night.